Hello everybody. In this video, I'm going to be repotting this little mame Japanese maple. I I really like these little, I don't even, some people might not even tell me I can call this a mame, but these tiny little trees in these tiny pots, I potted up probably 2 dozen of these last year, all different species. There's some conifers and stuff, but I do really enjoy these. I enjoy developing them. I enjoy looking at them. These little tiny pots are pretty incredible. Uh, this tree, I think I'm going to go ahead and pot this up into a little bit larger of a container than this one. This tree is doing really well. It's got a lot of buds all over it. I'm thinking I'll probably chop this back even further at some point in this year. During this year, this was a nursery stock tree. It was probably 2 feet tall last year when I cut it down and potted into this little container. It's done really well. I mean, you can see how packed that pot is with roots. I'm not even sure that it probably wasn't necessary for me to repot this tree this year. I think it probably would have kept growing in this pot. There is still soil in there. Hasn't been occupied by roots yet. But this one was doing so well that I think it kind of deserved a little bit larger of a pot. Really like the kind of extreme level of scale that you get with this tiny little container. Tiny little piece of drainage mesh in there. There's a lot of really, small, fine roots in here, and there's also a few more major roots that have kind of circled around. Go ahead and take off the longest of these roots right now. I'm just trying to cut these back to a point where we can continue to bifurcate and fill the pot without, just endlessly circling around. any of these thicker roots that have hit the side and started to circle, I want to cut back to a point where they're, splaying out from the base of the trunk. Got one here that decided to grow like straight up. Take that off. Also taking off any roots that are growing straight down. I want to promote this tree to have some sort of a root base. I don't know how long that'll really take to develop on this thing, but I'm going to treat it basically the same way I would a larger maple. So I think that's looking pretty good. Like I said, I do want to go up a size here. It's pretty limited, the selection of these pots you can readily find. So both of these are quite a bit larger than the original. Dude, this one is quite a bit smaller than this one. I do really like this pot. It's quite attractive to me. Wish it were a little bit smaller. I'm gonna go with this pot. It does have quite a large drainage hole in the bottom, so I'm gonna need some drainage mesh in there. Grab a piece of used scrap wire here. I'm just going to make a little staple shape. Press it in, bend those little tabs over. Then we need some wire to tie it in. I'm actually going to use that staple as the anchor for this wire as well. going to be potting it into the same mix it actually came out of, which is akadama with a small amount of, maybe 30% pumice in there. You could use 100% akadama. I wouldn't use anything but akadama in these tiny little containers as far as the major ingredient goes. You can definitely use 100% akadama. I just wouldn't use anything like pumice or even any other type of potting ingredient. I like that position. And because there's no real roots to tie to, I'm just going to wrap this wire up along the trunk. Be careful not to damage any buds. I also don't want to damage any of these roots. I'm trying to fish it in between them as best I can. I'll do the same thing with this wire. And that's going to hold that in there plenty securely. A bit more soil. Work it into the roots. I'm going to actually add some moss right to the surface. I normally will top dress trees, but I do find with these tiny containers it's very difficult to get a nice layer of moss established when you're starting it from nothing. So I do prefer to actually put a solid piece of moss into these pots. I'm just trying to tuck that into the lip of the pot. Trim off this excess wire. And there you go. That tree's ready for another season of growing. I'll be pruning, developing this tree. I don't know that I'll be doing any wiring because, like I said, I think I want to chop the trunk back a little bit more, and I might start to develop some of these branches down here that are just buds at this point. like I said, I really enjoy these little trees. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye.